Hi guys, sorry it's been so long since the last video, but I only managed to do these once in a while because it's only on a casual basis really. I managed to get the time to edit and upload a new video about this car. This time something a little bit different, specifically relating to the 803cc engine that you find in these early Series 2 Morris Minors. This is the very first of the A-Series engines, which came over from the Austin A30 and I believe the A35 as well. Has a bit of an unusual lubrication system which they dropped in the later engines. This one was notorious for having sort of problems with the lubrication system on the bottom end, especially at sustained higher speeds. And one of the issues specifically relates to using modern oil filters on these old engines as well. It seems to be getting slightly more known about now because a few people have had problems where the actual crank bearings haven't lasted as well as they should, due to a lack of oil pressure. Now the reason for that is because these 803s have a slightly different lubrication system whereby not all of the oil goes through the filter. It has a bypass system, so a restriction on the inlet to the filter only allows a certain amount of oil through the filter, whereas the rest is bypassed and then goes on to lubricate other critical components like the crank bearings. That was fine back in the day because the old oil filters for these had a very small, I think around 1 millimeter or about a 1.5 millimeter inlet hole, which created enough resistance that most of the oil went where it's supposed to go. With the modern filters, they have a much wider inlet, so it allows too much oil to go in that direction and not enough to go where it's actually needed. So if I can show you a little workaround. Okay, I think we've got this to focus enough. Now we have this small insert here. Now these are machined by a guy in Austria, I believe, and then sold on to members of the Morris Minor Owners Club, or I guess anyone else who needs one, via a guy in Germany. So as you can see, the outer thread here is machined to the same pitch as the oil filter, the thread on the oil filter, but you can just see a very small hole there. That's what gives the resistance to the inflowing oil. So regardless of the type of modern oil filter you use, that allows the oil to flow in the correct direction. So what we need to do is remove the oil filter, then we need to screw this into the hole as far in as it'll go, and in theory that will go in far enough to allow the oil filter to then screw in after it, and hopefully that should give our crankshaft and any other part in that engine the necessary protection. So let's try and get this fitted. Okay, I hope this is fairly clear, but you can see the oil filter down there below the dynamo. Annoyingly, I actually removed this dynamo a while ago to refurbish it. Unfortunately, I didn't actually video that one, but while that was out, that would have given much better access to the oil filter, but as it stands I'm going to have to struggle a bit. So there is a band around the filter which stops it from unscrewing itself, so I need to remove that first, and then I'm going to use this soft rubber strap here to remove the oil filter, because we're going to reuse that, so we don't want to damage it. So that'll help us remove that. I'm not going to bother draining the oil because the engine hasn't been run for a few days, so all the oil is going to be way down in the sump. So I think we can safely remove that filter without making a mess. So on to the next stage. There we go. Okay, that's the retaining band which clamps onto the oil filter and stops it from coming loose. It's always a pain to remove that thing, but extra bit of safety. Okay, so now we can loosen the filter and hopefully not spill oil everywhere. I've actually just put an oil pan underneath the car just to catch any spillages or any drips we might get. But hopefully, that shouldn't be too bad. And there we go. That was easy enough and no spillage. So, I mean, you can see straight away that hole is way bigger than 1mm. So let's see exactly how much bigger that is. Okay, if we can see the hole here. Now, this as an example, this is a 5mm drill bit. And that goes in easily with room to spare. A 6mm won't quite fit, so it's at least 5.5mm, that hole. So you can see now the difference this will make with its tiny inlet hole. So when that's screwed in, it should be the same thread pitch as that, which it does appear to be. So that goes in first, then the filter will screw in on top of that, and in theory there should be enough depth on the hole for the two together. We have cross-drilled holes on the inside here which will allow the bypass oil to flow past and only a small amount to pass into the filter. And that should allow us to use any filter without any concerns at all, because I'm guessing new old stock filters that will fit these cars with the correct hole are getting quite rare these days. So let's insert this with our 5mm Allen key and see how we go. Okay, well the insert went in very easily, so I screwed it in as far as I could until I felt some resistance. I didn't really tighten it down too much, just a tiny bit. So now the filter should go in nicely on top of that. There we go. That should still screw in all the way, which it does nicely. And we just hand tighten this. Right. And then the final thing is just to refit the retaining hoop, and then the job is finished. Okay, right, here we are inside the car now, and I think the only thing to do now is to fire up the engine and just check that we're developing a healthy oil pressure. So let's have a little bit of choke, because as I say, it hasn't been started for a good few days. Okay, here we go. There we go, you can see the oil pressure coming up here. Looks good. Oh, that's definitely better than it was. we're getting good. I mean, the oil is still cold, so it's still very viscous, so we will obviously get a higher pressure when we first start up the engine, but even at such a low idle, it would still be down here before I fitted that little insert. So that definitely looks positive. It's no doubt that's made a difference. Be interesting to see what the pressure's like when the engine's fully up to temperature. But when it's just ticking over at a low idle, it's holding its pressure now, whereas before it would drop right down, and when you're waiting at traffic lights, the needle would be down here at I mean, let's see, what would that be? About 20 psi, I'm guessing that is. And even at a low idle, it's staying up here now. Oh. Well, I'm feeling quite positive about this. Very good. Okay, well, I'll keep you posted if there's any further issues, but I think we're looking very good now. So, time will tell. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video, which will probably be replacing the engine mounts, because the old mounts, the rubber is very hard now. I'm guessing they've never been replaced since the car was new. So I think some nice new soft rubber is in order, just to help soak up some of those vibrations. So I'll see you then. Take care.